The patient list looked like nothing more than an ordinary medical record, but every name on that list could become crucial evidence proving the doctor had abused his patients. Kimberly immediately began visiting the people whose names appeared on the list. But every time they heard the doctor's name, their expressions instantly turned to fear. Then they slammed the door without hesitation and drove her away. These unusual reactions made Kimberly even more certain that she was far from the only victim of this monster. As Kimberly openly searched for evidence, the doctor gradually sensed the danger closing in. To keep his crimes from being completely exposed, he secretly began making plans to move overseas in the near future. But all of this was secretly overheard by a nurse passing by. After learning the news from the nurse, Kimberly could no longer contain her anger. She refused to stand by and watch the monster escape justice. But she simply didn't have enough evidence. The police had no legal authority to stop the doctor from leaving the country. With time running out, she forced her way into the police station. She firmly explained the seriousness of the situation to the police chief, because she was now certain that there were far more victims than just herself. Their heated argument caught the attention of the head of the police department. Faced with Kimberly's relentless determination, the chief thought about it for a long time, and finally decided to believe her. But because the case still lacked direct evidence, the police still could not officially reopen the investigation. So the chief summoned the doctor under the pretense of assisting with another investigation. He brought the doctor to the police station for testing. With the lawyers supervising the entire procedure, they prepared to collect another blood sample for DNA testing. Meanwhile, Kimberly and the chief watched everything from the other side of the glass. They carefully observed every move the doctor made. But something was very strange. Even though the doctor had abused countless victims, he showed no sign of nervousness while being questioned by the police. Instead, he calmly took off his jacket and cooperated with the examination. He only requested that the sample be taken from his arm, claiming that taking blood from his fingertip would affect his work that afternoon. Although Kimberly felt something was not right, she believed that under everyone's watchful eyes, the killer would finally be brought to justice. But the moment the test results came back, reality shattered her hopes once again. The DNA comparison showed no match at all. All the evidence indicated that the doctor had not assaulted Kimberly that day. Even so, Kimberly still could not believe what she was seeing. The chief also began to lose his patience. After one failed result after another, she started wondering whether she had been wrong all along. She even felt that this was fate passing judgment on her. No matter how hard she tried, she would never escape being labeled a liar. When she looked up and saw the doctor's taunting gaze, the anger inside her nearly spiraled out of control. She even suspected that the police had switched the samples, or perhaps the doctor was somehow born with two different blood types. She even began to wonder whether everything she had experienced was nothing more than a terrible nightmare. Her mind was on the verge of a complete breakdown. But what she never expected was that just as the doctor was about to leave the country, the case suddenly took a dramatic turn. A victim who had once refused to testify was moved by Kimberly's courage and determination. She decided to remain silent no longer, and told the police exactly how she had been abused. This time the case finally had a real eyewitness. Kimberly immediately took the doctor to court. Faced with accusations from countless women in the town, the judge ordered the doctor to be tested in court. Unlike all the previous rounds of testing, this time the investigators collected the doctor's saliva and hair samples. They also made sure to draw blood directly from his fingertip. This time the results finally did not disappoint. The samples were a perfect match with the DNA left inside Kimberly's body. The court immediately handed down its verdict. The doctor was found guilty of assaulting Kimberly and multiple other women. The moment Kimberly heard the verdict, she felt a sense of relief, unlike anything she had ever experienced. When the townspeople learned the truth, they were grateful that they themselves had not become victims. They also expressed their admiration for Kimberly's courage. At the end of the story, the doctor finally confessed to his crimes. It turned out that the reason he had escaped justice so many times before was because he had painfully implanted a rubber tube beneath the skin of his arm. The tube was filled with someone else's blood to help him avoid responsibility. Every time a blood sample was taken, he deliberately positioned the tube beneath the needle. That was why the DNA test repeatedly failed to match. But he never imagined that the trick he believed was absolutely foolproof would ultimately fail under a more rigorous testing procedure. And in the end, the only thing waiting for this monster was the full force of the law. Accused does not rely on graphic violence to shock its audience. Instead, it focuses on the victim's long and painful fight for justice. Through a series of well-crafted twists, the film turns every failed piece of evidence into a new source of suspense. It also allows the audience to truly experience what victims go through when they are questioned, isolated, and pushed into despair. After its release, the film achieved solid box office results and received strong reviews. Because it was inspired by a real case, it also sparked widespread public discussion. To this day, many viewers still consider this film to be one of the finest movies ever adapted from a true crime case.